Hi, I'm Jubal Fulks, violin professor at the University of Northern Colorado, and I'm going to talk in this video about the Western States Honor Orchestra Festival excerpt from Beethoven's Symphony No. 9, the third movement, which is the slow movement. This video will be helpful if you already have practiced the music a little bit and of course have listened to different performances and worked with your teacher on the music beforehand. One of the main issues in this excerpt is legato playing. So let's start with some open string practice, looking for a straight bow, which means that the bow is parallel to the bridge for the entire length. Start all the way at the frog and go all the way to the tip and then back. It's always very helpful to watch in a mirror while you practice this so that you can see that your bow is totally straight and parallel to the bridge the entire time. Also watch out for bulges on the bow changes, and to practice this you can take a length of bow and then practice the bow change at the tip and at the frog a few times. When you feel good about having a straight bow on all the strings, then you can do two strings at once, and this will be important later on in the excerpt itself for the legato playing. Once you get a feel for the different weight of the bow on two strings, go ahead and practice your string crossings on the open strings. Use your imagination to come up with different patterns and different strings. Don't worry too much about keeping it regular. Just make sure that your bow is straight and that you're free in the right arm. The next issue in this excerpt is choosing the fingerings. Check below the video for my own personal fingering choices in this piece, and I'll be, of course, doing them as I play it at the end. One question is to slide or not to slide. Some slides can sound okay and others not so okay, and in general, I would say don't slide down. Try to eliminate any downward slides from your performance of this excerpt. Sliding on a half step is usually a good way to get to a new position without hearing too much of a slide. If you look at measure 50 in this excerpt, we have a spot where you can slide by a half step to get to second position, from B to C. And it's not too audible a slide. So sliding by half step is a good way to get around. The most important thing to practice in your shifting is the guide finger. And we need look no further than measure 1, which is actually measure 43 in this excerpt. The first measure of the excerpt contains a shift from first to third position. And I would advise this very strongly because if you just played in first position, we have an open A string, which is held for a little bit too long, and of course you can't vibrate the open A. So a better idea would be to do this in third position. Now to get there, we have to go to third finger To get there, we have to go to third finger on the second B flat in the measure. The way to practice this is by using a guide finger. The formula for a guide finger is old finger in the new position. And if there's a string crossing, it's on the old string. So essentially, you're keeping your old finger down until you get to the new position. And it's important to practice this in steps. In the first measure of this excerpt, we have the shift from B flat in first position on the A string to B flat in third position on the D string. The way to get there is by using your first finger to slide up to D on the A string. And the very first step is to put it fully in your practice of this measure. Making it a full 16th note, so you really feel the fingers sliding up to the D, and you can really hear getting up to the D and having it be a ringing tone and being in tune. The next step is to slowly work the guide finger out of what you're hearing. So you might notice that the very first one is on the old bow. And a full 16th note. Slowly we'll work it into the new bow. And make it sort of like a grace note. And eventually you'll be able to do this, feeling your hand shift up, feeling your finger go from B flat to D, yet we won't be able to hear it, or we'll be able to hear it as little as you would like us to hear it. Next, I'll play through the excerpt slowly, using the techniques that I've discussed before. So, I'll do the very first step of the guide finger. It's going to sound a little funny, but I'll make the guide finger a full 16th within the excerpt. And this I recommend that you do as much as possible. I'm going to play it slowly, but I'll still count the rests. And I'll also make double stops with the string crossings. Do as many of the dynamics as you can. So that's a great first way to practice this for a good long while, and then slowly work the guide finger notes or the shift notes out of your performance of the excerpt. Also practice for smooth string crossings and smooth bow changes. Of course, this is not meant to be an exhaustive list of things, so work with your private teacher to produce the best performance of this excerpt that you can, and happy practicing.